Hare Krishna. Today we are going to revise and summarize chapter number 10 of Jaiv Dharm, and the title of this chapter is Nitya Dharma, the history of Nitya Dharma. Basically, it is about Vaishnav Dharma, how old and how ancient is Vaishnav Dharma. The book Jaiv Dharma is authored by Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji, whose original name was Kedarnath Dutt, and he was born in 1838 in place called Birnagad in India, and he died in Kolkata on June 23, 1914. And his very popular, very famous, very prominent, and very spiritual son name was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And his guru, Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur's guru, the author of the Jaiv Dharma, his guru was Bipan Bihari Goswami ji and Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji is also considered as a seventh Goswami, and during his working life, he was the magistrate in the British era, and he has authored more than 100 books. And Jaiv Dharam is one of the very, very prominent books. So let's do the little Guru Vandana, and then we will take up the chapter in detail. Om Gyantirmridasya Gyananjan Shalakya Chakrunarinintam Yen Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. First of all, my Danvat Pranam to my Diksha Guru Shri Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj ji, and thereafter my Danvat Pranam to all my Shiksha Gurus, and my Danvat Pranam, Yatha Yog Danvat Pranam to all the listeners of this video and audio, and all other Guru brothers who have helped me in understanding this chapter. And it will be my endeavor, it will be my effort to summarize this chapter in a very simple manner. And I will not try to add anything from my side, but try to convey to you whatever author Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ji has written himself. Okay, the title of this chapter is Nitya Dharma and History. There were two Vaishnavas who thought that their livelihood was in danger, and they lived in West Bengal in Navadvip Dham. And this whole chapter is about the discussions between these two people. And then they took the help of other seniors to clarify their questions. In total, you will see, and we will discuss among ourselves, there are about 14 prominent questions in this chapter, and we will take one up by one. The subject matter of Vaishnav Dharma and its history starts between the two Vaishnavas named Shri Harihar Bhattacharya. He was a professor in Agradvi in West Bengal in Navadvip Dham, and the other one is his colleague or co-brother Chaturbhuj Nyaya Ratna. Chaturbhuj Nyaya Ratna was the senior. He had authored a book also on Nyaya Shastra, and he was very much also respected. But he somehow did not want to get involved into the Vaishnav Dharma, but the friend Shri Harihar Bhattacharya was a Vaishnav. He had taken the Diksha. He was a true Vaishnav, and the two started discussing that he was not very sure. Harihar said, how old is the Vaishnav Dharma? And somehow or the other, he wanted to, Chaturpur Nyaya wanted to be away from this topic, but he dragged him. Harihar Bhattacharya dragged him, Nyaya his colleague, co-brother, into the topic. How he dragged him? He gave the example of another person named Tadka Churamani of Vikrampura, that he was making a lot of money. The whole thing is about money. That he was making a lot of money by condemning, by criticizing the Vaishnav Dharma. That's a very latest, very new Dharma. And before that, it was all Durga, 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 and Durga. Durga is the Shakti that is to be worshipped and not Vaishnav Dharma. And he was making a lot of money by criticizing this and spreading this message within India and abroad also. So Tanaka Chudamani was making a lot of money. So both Harihar Bhattacharya and Chaturbhuj Naya Ratna, their livelihood was somehow or the other at stake. And they then thought of taking the help of their seniors in the Navdev Dham in across Godhruma, across the river Ganges, Godharma Dham, and they went over there. About 7 or 8 prominent, very senior Vaishnavas lived over there. And those of you who have been following Jaiv Dharm, their names were Paramhans Babaji, Lahiri Mashe or Advaita Das, and then Vaishnav Das. So they were the prominent senior Vaishnavas. And both Harihar Bhattacharya and Chaturbhuj Nyaya Ratna, they crossed the river Ganges to seek guidance from them. And their prominent question was, how old is Vaishnav Dharma? So on a particular day, they reached the abode of these senior Vaishnavas and they started asking them the questions. Questions about how old is the Vaishnav Dharma. So Paramas Basavaji was the senior most and he invited his very intelligent and very prominent Shishya disciple Vaishnav Das to answer this question as to how old is the Vaishnav Dharma. And to this, Vaishnav Das replied that this religion is eternal. It is very, very old and it is as good as when the Jivas had started living on this planet. It is as old as that. And Nyayarutana, he sort of gave his doubts or his questions and he said, please tell us whether the Vaishnav, the religion is ancient or it is modern. And the answer given by Vaishnav Das was the Vaishnav Dharma is Sanatana, everlasting, and Nitya, eternal. Then Nyayarutana gave his version of Vaishnav Dharma as to what he thought Vaishnav Dharma is, and he wanted clarifications. And as I said, there are 14 prominent questions, and we will take up one by one of them. Nyayarutana then gave his version of the Vaishnav Dharma. He said there are two types of Vaishnav Dharma. One is the Paratattva known as a Brahma, that Brahma is formless and it is devoid of qualities. That is the Par Tattva Bhagavan Brahma is formless. There is no form of it. And he is devoid of any qualities. Since he does not have any form, he does not have any qualities. The other form of Vaishnav Dharma is Bhagavan Vishnu, Rama or Krishna, and they are accepted as Par Brahma, possessing eternal form. They have a form, eternal form. And when the sadhaka worships one of these particular forms, With the corresponding mantras, he obtains eternal knowledge of the specific deity whom he worships and receives the mercy of that particular deity. So, this was the version given by Nyayaratna. To this Vaishnav he is going to answer most of the questions. Very senior, very prominent, very intelligent uh, Vaishnav. So Vaishnav Das replies, the second of this is the real Vaishnav Dharma. That is the one which has form and it is eternal. And it is eternal. The other is Vaishnav Dharma in name only, the first one, the formless, the one who says Brahma and it does not have any form. It does not have any qualities. That is Vaishnava Dharma in name only. In reality, the pseudo Vaishnava Dharma is opposed to real Vaishnava Dharma. It is temporary and has originated from Mayavad doctrine. Mayavad means illusion, that is which is mostly about material things. That knowledge about that. So Vaishnav Das further says the Vaishnava Dharma has been in existence from the very moment of the Jiva's appearance, the living beings. The Jivas are anadi because they have no beginning in material time. Therefore, the constitutional function of the Jivas, known as the Jaiv Dharma or Vaishnava Dharma, is also anadi. Anadi meaning eternal. Brahma is the first Jiv to take birth in the universe. As we all know, Brahma Ji was born from the lotus or Nabhi of Bhagwan Ji. So he is the first living being. Brahma is the first Jiva to take birth in this universe. As soon as he appeared, the Vedic sound vibration, which is the basis of Vaishnava Dharma, also became manifest. This is recorded in the four essential shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam also about Brahmaji. Srimad Bhagavatam has mentioned a lot of things about Brahma, and the first one of these four prominent shlokas says, Brahma, who is the first of all the Devas, and who appeared from the lotus that sprouted from the navel of Bhagwan, is the creator of the universe and the maintainer of all living entity. He imparted Brahma Vidya, which is the basis for all other knowledge, onto his eldest son, Atharva. The next shlok says, the Jnani Janas, pure Vaishnavas, they always behold the supreme abode of Bhagwan Shri Vishnu, just as the unobstructed eye sees the sun within the sky. And the next shlok says, only the lotus feet of Bhagwan Shri Vishnu is the highest attainment. This is all mentioned in Bhagavatam. And the fourth prominent shlok of the Bhagavatam in support of Brahma being the first child of Bhagwanji and Bhagwanji being the supreme, it says Bhagwan is the supreme person and the original source of all the devas. He is the supreme object of worship and is one without upwards. There is no second to Bhagwanji. He is the supreme. Just as the sun shines radiantly illuminating all directions upwards, downwards, and on all sides, so Bhagwan regulates material nature, which is the origin of all different species of life. So this is the first question that has been answered, and Vaishnav Das has replied in his answer supporting that Brahma is the first child of Bhagwanji, and he quoted four shlokas for that. And second question, which Nyaya Ratna asks, the Rig Veda, he states, Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam, meaning they say the supreme abode of Vishnu. How can you say that this doesn't refer to the Vaishnav Dharma that is included in the Mayavad doctrine? I repeat, the question is, he asks Vaishnav Das, how can you say that The supreme abode of Vishnu does not refer to the Vaishnav Dharma that is included in the Mayavad doctrine. Mayavad doctrine also mentions about Vaishnav Dharma. It is not the same thing that is mentioned in the Mayavad doctrine. So this Vaishnav Das says, the Mayavad believe that when the sadhaka acquires knowledge, he attains the status of Brahma. However, where is the question of service if one becomes Brahma? The Vaishnav Dharma that is included within the scope of Mayavad rejects the conception of eternal servitorship of Bhagwan. They do not consider Bhagwan to be eternal, the Mayavad people. They say it's all illusion. The only true religion, Vaishnav Das says, is the constitutional function of service and surrender. Please remember these two words, service and surrender. That is the true constitutional religion. There is no other means to attain Bhagwanji except by servicing and surrendering. You can only attain Bhagwan's mercy and thus see his eternal form by servicing and surrendering. Knowledge of Brahma will not enable one to attain darshan of Bhagwan's eternal form. We can understand from this categorical Vedic statement that pure Vaishnav Dharma is founded upon the Vedas. All the Vedas sanction the Vaishnav Dharma that Shriman Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught. There is no room for any doubt in this regard. So he is glorifying Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Vaishnav Dharma which he spread while he was on this planet, that is the true Vaishnav Dharma. And for this, servicing and surrendering to Bhagwanji is very, very necessary. Remember these two words, service and surrender. You can only surrender to a person who has a form. That is Bhagwanji. He is not formless. Third question. Is there any Nyayaratna? Is there any statement in the Vedas to the effect that Krishna bhajan and not realization of Brahma Gyan is the highest attainment? So this Vaishnav Das says, it is said in Upanishad, Raso Vai Saha, Krishna is the embodiment of rasa. And by service to Krishna, one attains the transcendental abode of divine bliss, which is full of wonderful pastimes. And by reaching that transcendental abode of wonders, one attains Krishna. So that is the answer to the question. Krishna bhajan is the method to realize Bhagwanji. Now, fourth question. Nairatna asks Vaishnav Das, is the name Krishna anywhere to be found in the Vedas? To this, Vaishnav Das replies, does the word Sham not refer to Krishna? It is said in Rig Ved, I saw Shri Krishna, who is born in the dynasty of Gopas and who is imperishable. Apasham Gopam Anipadyam Namaha. I saw Krishna, who is born in the dynasty of Gopas and who is imperishable. There are many statements in the Vedas that refer specifically to Krishna, who appeared as the son of the Gopa or cowherd. Vaishnava further says, if you study the Vedas carefully, you will see that they have used these types of indirect statements in relation to every topic. The sages of old have explained the meaning of all these statements, and we should have the highest regard for their opinions of the sages. So that is now way to question number 5. Nyaya Ratna asks, please tell me the history of Vaishnav Dharma. Now he comes to the direct question, which is the title of this chapter, Nitya Dharma and History. Question is, please tell me the history of Vaishnav Dharma? Nyaya Ratna asks, and Vaishnav Das replies. He says, I have already said that the appearance of Vaishnav Dharma is concurrent with the origin of the Jiva. Brahma was the first Vaishnava. Shriman Mahadev is also Vaishnava, as are all the other devtas of mankind. Shri Narad Goswami, who was born from the mind of Brahma, is a Vaishnava. This clearly verifies that Vaishnava Dharma is not a recent development, but has been prevalent from the very beginning of creation. Not all living entities are free from the influence of the three modes of nature, and the superiority of a high Vaishnava will depend on the degree to which he is free from the modes. So it's very prominent part of this chapter to understand that everybody is influenced by the three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance, satogun, rajogun, and tamogun. Everybody is influenced by this. And the degree of the Vaishnav, of the how high level Vaishnav he is, depends upon how much he is affected by these three modes of nature. So I repeat what is mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakurji through Vaishnav Das. Not all living entities are free from the influence of the three modes of nature, and the superiority of the high Vaishnav will depend on the degree to which he is free from these modes of nature. The Mahabharata, Ramayana, and the Puranas are the histories of the Aryan race, and they have all described the excellence of Vaishnav Dharma. We have already seen the Vaishnav Dharma was present at the beginning of creation. Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, they were both pure Vaishnavas. During their time, there were many thousands of other Vaishnavas whose names are not given anywhere in the history because only the most prominent have been mentioned. Dhruv was the grandson of Manu, and Prahlad was the grandson of Prajapati Kashyap, and they both lived close to the beginning of creation. Of this, there is no doubt. You can therefore observe that pure Vaishnava Dharma was active from the beginning of history. It's not new, it's not a recent one. That is what the two Brahmins want to be assured so that their livelihood can be saved. So they themselves are Vaishnavas, but the other Pandits, the worshippers of Durga, were making more money by criticizing that Vaishnava Dharma is only a recent one. Now they have come here to seek support of the senior Vaishnavas across the river Ganga. Right. And then Vaishnav Das further says in support of that Vaishnav Dharma is a very old one. He says, later on, the kings of the solar or the sun and the lunar dynasty or the moon dynasties, as well as the great munis and the rishis, they were all intently devoted to Shri Vishnu. There is extensive mention of the Vaishnav Dharma in the three previous ages known as the Satyug, Treta Yug, and the Vapar Yug. All these three yugs, there were Vaishnav Dharma available. It was spread over there during those yugs also. Even in the present age of Kali, Shri Ramanuja, Shri Madhvacharya, and Shri Vishnu Swami in southern India, and Shri Nimmaditya Swami in western India, initiated many thousands of disciples into pure Vaishnava Dharma. By their mercy, perhaps half the population of India crossed the ocean of Maya and attained shelter of the lotus feet of Shri Bhagwan Ji. Also, just consider how many downtrodden and degraded people Shri Sachidanand, who is the master of my heart and soul, delivered in this land of Bengal. Sachidanand Mahaprabhuji, Bhakti Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji. Can you still not perceive the greatness of the Vaishnav Dharma in spite of witnessing all this, whatever I have said so far? Vaishnav Das says. Nayatana still wants more and more reply in support of the Vaishnav Dharma being very old. Next question, question number 6 of Nyaya Ratna. He asks, yes, I do agree, but on what basis do you call Prahlad and other as Vaishnavs? Vaishnav Das says, they can be known as Vaishnavs on the basis of Shastra. Prahlad's teacher, Sanda and Amarka, they wanted to instruct him in the Brahm Gyan contaminated with the doctrine of Mayavad. But he rejected, Prahlad rejected their teaching, realizing that Hari Nam is the essence of all education, and he constantly chanted the name of Bhagwan with great love and affection. Under such circumstances, there can be no doubt that Prahlad was a pure Vaishnav. The truth is that one cannot understand the underlying essence of the Shastras without impartial and minute investigation. Moving on to question number 7 of Nyayaratna. He says, if you say so, Vaishnava Dharma is perpetual in existence. What new insight did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveal for which he should be given such special regard? What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done in Vaishnava Dharma? Why he should be given so much of respect? What prominent thing he has done in Vaishnava Dharma? And to this, Vaishnav Das replies, Vaishnava Dharma is like a lotus flower. Please listen very carefully. It's very interesting, very beautifully explained by Vaishnav Das. And of course, the author is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Vaishnava Dharma is like a lotus flower which gradually comes into bloom when the time is right. First, it appears as a bud, and then it slowly begins to blossom. In its maturity, it is fully blossomed and attracts all the jivas by diffusing its sweet fragrance in every direction. At the beginning of creation, 4 aspects of knowledge were expressed to Brahma through the medium of the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam by Bhagwanji. These were Bhagavad Gyan, transcendental knowledge of the Absolute as Bhagwan. Second, the Maya Gyan, analytical knowledge of the Ishvara's external potency. And the third one, the Sadhana Bhakti, the means of attaining the goal. And lastly, the Prema, which is the object of the attainment. So these 4 elements were manifested in the Jiva's hearts as the sprout of the lotus flower of Vaishnav Dharma. At the time of Prahlad, this sprout took shape as the bud, which gradually began to blossom in the period of Ved Vyas Muni and developed into a flower at the time of Ramanuja Madhva and other Sampradaya Acharyas. Upon the appearance of Shriman Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vaishnav Dharma became the fully blossomed flower of Prem and began to attract the hearts of all jivas by spreading its enchantingly sweet fragrance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhuji spread the Kirtan and the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He is the one who spread the Prem to do Kirtan, to do love and affection of Radha Krishna. Vaishnav Das further says, the supremely confidential essence of Vaishnava Dharma is the awakening of Prem. Shriman Mahaprabhu, Shriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu created the good fortune for all jivas by distributing this Prem through the chanting of Shri Harinam. Shri Nam Sankirtan is the priceless possession worthy of the highest regard. Did anyone reveal this teaching prior to Mahaprabhu? No. Although this truth existed in the Shastras, there was no radiant example of it that could be inspired in the ordinary jivas to practice it in their own lives. Indeed, before Shri Mahaprabhu, Had anyone ever plundered the storehouse of Prem Ras and distributed in this way, even to the common man? Nayratna says, all right. But if Kirtan is so beneficial, why do learned Pandits not hold it in high esteem? And now Nyaratna has talked about praising the Pandits, and Vaishnav Das criticizes the word Pandits. And he says these Pandits cannot be understood and explain the meaning of Dharma. These Pandits are not competent Pandits anymore. They are not the people who know the Shastras completely. So, how can anyone attain or obtain it through these people anything intellectual? The truth is that in this Kalyug, those who are known as Pandits are expert at deceiving themselves and others by arguing uselessly. Assemblies of such Pandits engage in heated debates over inconsequential matters. But they never discuss knowledge of ultimate reality, knowledge of the Jiva's relationship with the absolute truth, the supreme goal for the Jivas, or the method for attaining that goal. Very important. These Pandits, they are unnecessarily deceiving people because they never discuss knowledge of ultimate reality, knowledge of the Jiva's relationship with the absolute truth, nor do they discuss the supreme goal for the Jivas or the method for attaining that goal. One can only understand the real nature of Prem and Kirtan when he discerns the truth of those matters, and they do not do that. Moving on to the next question, number 8. Nayratna says, all right, I admit that there are no qualified Pandits these days. But why don't high class Brahmanas accept your Vaishnav Dharma? To this, Vaishnav Das says, please consider that Ramanuja, Madhva, Vishnu Swami, and Nimmaditya were all Brahmins, and they were each had thousands of Brahmanas as their disciples. In Bengal, our Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a Vedic Brahman, and our Nityanand Prabhu was a Radhiya Brahman, and our Advait Prabhu was a Varendra Brahman. Our Goswamis and Mahajans were almost all Brahmins. Thousands of Brahmanas who are the very pinnacle of the Brahminical lineage have taken refuge of Vaishnav Dharma and are propagating this spotless religion in the world. So, how can you claim that high class Brahmanas have no regard for Vaishnav Dharma? Okay, now we move on to the question number 9. Nayratna asks, why is it that so many low class people accept Vaishnav Dharma? There is another misconception that only low class people they accept Vaishnav Dharma, and to this Vaishnav Das says, this should not be a cause of for any doubt. Most low class people consider themselves quite wretched and downtrodden, and thus they are eligible for the mercy of the Vaishnavas, without which one cannot become a Vaishnav. Humility cannot touch the heart of one who is intoxicated with the pride of high birth and wealth, and consequently, it is very rare for such people to obtain the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So, moving on to question number 10 now. Nayadartha then asks, please tell me why you don't respect Sri Shankaracharya, who is a limitless ocean of knowledge. To this, Vaishnav Das replies, our Shriman Mahaprabhu has instructed us to honor Sri Shankaracharya by addressing him as Acharya, who says that we do not respect him. We only reject his Mayavad doctrine because he is a coveted form of Buddhism which the Vedas do not support. On Bhagwan's order, Shankaracharya distorted the meaning of the Vedas, Vedanta, and the Gita, and he broadcast the false doctrine of impersonal monism known as Advaitavad to convert those men who had a demonic nature. What fault is there in this for which Shankaracharya should be condemned? Buddhadev is an avatar of Bhagwan who has established and preached a doctrine which is opposed to the Vedas. So that is the reply given by Vaishnav Das, that we respect Shankaracharya, and our Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has asked us to address him as Acharya. And we only reject his Mayavad doctrine, but otherwise we respect Shankaracharya. So that is the reply given by Vaishnav Das. Moving on to question number 11. Total there are 14 questions. We are at question number 11. Nayratna then asks, why do you say that the Mayavad doctrine is opposed to the Vedas, Vedanta, and the Gita? To this, Vaishnav says, if you have carefully examined the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra, kindly tell me which mantras and sutras support the doctrine of Mayavad. None of the contents in the Upanishads and the Vedanta, they support Mayavad. He says, if you can tell me this, then I will explain the true meaning of those statements and prove that they do not support Mayavad at all. So that is answer to question number 11. Moving on to question number 12. Nyayratna asks, Vaishnav Das, why Vaishnavas don't have faith in the remnants of food offered to the Devas and the Devis, although they have great faith in Vishnu Prasad? I repeat this question, it's quite important one. He says, Nyayratna asks, why Vaishnavas don't have faith in the remnants or remains of the food offered to the Devas and Devis, although they have great faith in Vishnu Prasad. To this, Vaishnav Das replies, the answer to your question is that Vaishnavas do not disrespect the Prasad of the Devas and Devis. Shri Krishna is the supreme controller of all controllers. Therefore, he alone is known as the Parameshwar. All the Devas and Devis are his devotees, and they are appointed to positions in the administration of the universal affairs. Vaishnavas can never disrespect the prasad of the bhaktas because one obtains Shuddh Bhakti by honoring their remnants. The dust from the bhaktas' feet, the nectar like water that has washed bhaktas' feet, and the nectar like food that has touched bhaktas' lips are three types of prasad that are supremely beneficial. They are the medicine that destroys the disease of material existence. So that is the reply given by Vaishnav Das, that we respect the remnants of the food that is offered to Devis and Devas. But Bhagwanji Shri Krishna is a supreme controller. And all these Devi Devtas are his bhaktas. They are the administrators to control this universe. So why should we Vaishnavas not respect the bhakta of Shri Krishna? We respect Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas say we respect the remnants of the food, the water that has touched the feet of the Devi Devtas, the food that has touched the lips of the Devi Devtas or his bhaktas. We respect every aspect of it. And question number 13, second last question. Ratna, he says, all right, that is very clear. But why do you oppose the killing of animals in sacrifice when the Shastras support it? So this Vaishnav Das replies, very important question. And Vaishnav Das replies, it is not the intention of Shastra that animals should be killed. The Vedas declare, Ma hinsa sarvani bhutani. One should not commit violence to any living entity. This statement forbids violence to animals. As long as human nature is strongly influenced by the modes of passion and ignorance, people will be spontaneously driven to illicit connection with the opposite sex, meat eating, and intoxication. Such people do not ask the Vedas to sanction their activities. The purpose of the Vedas is not to promote such activities, but rather to curb them. Vaishnav conclusion in this regard is that there is no objection if a person whose nature is ruled by passion and ignorance, he kills animals. However, a person who is situated in the mode of goodness should not do so. He should not kill animals because causing harm to other jivas is an animalistical propensity. It is an animalistic propensity. So people who are in goodness, they should not kill animals because causing harm to other jivas is an animalistic propensity and they will never do that. And Narad Muniji has explained that living entities without hands are prey for those with hands. Life forms without legs are food for the four-legged people, jivas. Small creatures are substance for large ones. In this way, one living entity is the means of existence for another. And he further says abstinence from activities such as sexual indulgence, meat eating, and intoxication yields highly beneficial results, although a human being is naturally inclined towards them. So that was a reply to question number 13 as to why people or Vaishnavas are opposed to killing animals, even though the Shastras support it. The last question. Nyaya Ratna says, why do the Vaishnavas object to the Shraddh ceremony and other activities that are meant to repay one's debt to the forefathers? Shraddh, as you know, when our parents die of a human being and or their grandparents, they do Shraddh or an annual function, annual ceremony to pay respect to the forefathers and to the parents who have left for heavenly abode. So this is a ceremony done by the Pandits and it is a source of income for the Pandits also. So naturally, this Nyaya Ratna was asking why this livelihood or source of income is being opposed by the Vaishnavas. So Nyayaratna asks, why do the Vaishnavas object to the Shraddh ceremony and other activities that are meant to repay one's debt to the forefathers? To this, Vaishnav thus gives a very beautiful reply. He says, people who are intent on carrying out prescribed pious duties perform the Shraddh ceremony in accordance with the Karma Kand division of the Vedas. Vaishnavas have no objections to this. Bhaktas, Vaishnava says, Bhaktas who have taken shelter of Bhagwanji are not required to perform the Shraddh ceremony and other Karmakand activities meant for gaining release from the debt to one's forefathers. They are instructed to worship Bhagwan, to offer Bhagwan Prasad to forefathers, and to honor Bhagavad Prasad and their friends and relatives. I repeat, they are instructed to worship Bhagwan, to offer Bhagavad Prasad to the forefathers, and to honor Bhagavad Prasad with their friends and relatives. So that is the reply given by Vaishnav Das, the last of the questions. Now, having got replies satisfactorily to these 14 questions, Nyaya Ratna sort of now surrenders. He says, okay, I've got enough. I've got enough replies and I am satisfied. He says, to conclude this chapter, he says, I'm delighted to hear your explanations. He says to Vaishnav Das, I'm delighted to hear your explanations. Seeing your scholarship and the lines find discrimination, my faith has now been awakened in Vaishnav Dharma. My brother Harihar, who was his colleague and co-brother, he says, my brother Harihar, there is no profit in debating any further with these learned people. These Vaishnavas are great teachers among Pandits. They are exceedingly expert in extracting the conclusion of all our Shastras. We may say whatever we like to preserve our occupation of Pandits, livelihood, but it is highly doubtful whether anyone has ever appeared in the land of Bengal or in all of India, for that matter, who can compare with such renowned scholar and exalted Vaishnavas as Nimai Pandit. Let us go. Let us go and leave this place because we have to return and cross the river Ganga. The day is waning and it will be difficult to cross the Ganga after dark. Let's go back. So with this, Nyayaratna and his group of teachers departed, calling out, Haribol, Haribol. The Vaishnav then began to dance and chant Jai Sachidanand, Sai Satyanand. So with this comes to the end of 10th chapter of Jaiv Dharma titled Nitya Dharma and History. So thank you very much. I hope these 14 questions you can hear the recording again and it will be beneficial for you for your rest of your life. So Bhaktivinoda Thakurji has given very practical topics and in the form of questions, which are very, very useful in doing your bhakti, doing your spiritual activities. So thank you very much. We shall continue with the next chapter. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.